Okay, James.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, we're good. Welcome everybody to Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition. And I'm here. My name is James Slim Overton, and I'm here with my co-host, Leah Drake Stith.
Thank you. Thank you, Slim.
Or is it Smith?
Stiff.
Okay, and Stith and Thomas the Colonel Chapman. And how are you? How you guys? Haven't seen you since Monday. Well, I've seen you,
Yeah,
Leah.
I saw you last night, sir.
Yes.
Haven't seen the Colonel since Monday,
Yeah.
but
All good. All
I can
good.
hardly talk today because I laughed and screamed so much last night at the Cletus comedy show, Smiles in the City. My voice is leaving me. It was an
Yeah.
enjoyable evening. It was a great evening.
Yeah, he touched on some good points that were very comical, and
Yes, it
enjoyable.
was.
But welcome everybody, and we have a special guest with us this evening, and he's someone that I had on my show before. He and Mike Link had him on. The two Norfolk State grads and they were had a good message that they brought to us back then, and I thought let's bring him back. And his name is Davy Smith III, and he's a businessman, and he's a former let's see, chairman of the Planning Commission, Portsmouth Planning Commission. As a matter of fact, he made history. He was the uh,
Chairperson,
youngest.
chairman.
I was going to say youngest African American, but you were the youngest ever to serve as chairman of the Planning Commission. Am
I
I
believe so.
correct?
I believe so. Yes, sir. And I did. I found out my background. I'm Nigerian, so that's in my blood. So I said Nigerian American is all
Oh,
good.
okay, all
You
right.
know.
Well,
You
well,
know.
well, well, if, well, if you say Nigerian American, when
Hmm.
I traveled to Africa, every place I went, they said you're Nigerian. I said no, 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 no. We're from Sierra
Wow.
Leone. But then when
Wow.
I did my DNA, it came back
Mm.
Cameroon. We used to be a
Woo.
part of Nigeria at one
Come
time.
on. Come on.
So
That's I did like you.
I'm your Nigerian sister. How about that?
How about that?
Ashe. Ashe.
We are
That's
the
right.
world.
That's
And
right.
also, Davey served as chairman of the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority, two major commissions in the city of Portsmouth. Uh, Davey, we're glad to have you here. Let me mention this: he's a grad of IC Norcom and Norfolk State University. You see that Behold shirt he has on,
No.
and he
And
excelled in
you.
football at both of those educational institutions, and also went on from there to play semi-pro football and also
Mhm.
arena league football. Am I
Yes,
correct?
sir. That's
Yeah.
right. You
So
got it right. I did. I had a chance to play pro football, so
yeah,
that was a dream, and I did
yes, and looked like you could still do it now, brother.
it.
But anyway,
Yes,
we
sir.
wanted to bring David back here, and we're going to talk about a lot of things with him. But I wanted to start off with him because last week we had Ronald Goodrich talking about his life growing up in the city of Portsmouth, and I wanted to bring Davy on to kind of continue with that because we're still dealing with youth violence here in the city of Portsmouth and trying to figure out the root causes. And well, we kind of know the root causes, but trying to figure out what solutions that we're going to have to bring to the table in order to tackle this. But I wanted to bring Davey in to talk a little bit about his experience growing up in the Jeffrey Wilson neighborhood,
Oh
right
man.
across from IC Norton.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
and he has a very his story, Davey, I'll just let you sort of start off and tell your story about growing up in Jeffrey Wilson in the city of Portsmouth.
Okay, James, ain't no problem. I just want to say thank you to Portsmouth Coffee Talk for all the stuff that you're doing, not just for the city of Portsmouth, but what you're doing for the region. And
Thanks.
man, it's powerful. All the folks you're bringing on, it's incredible. Um, just again on the background of story, born and raised in Portsmouth. Was raised on Project Drive. Started out at 118 Project Drive, from there 56, then 282. Those are the three apartments I stayed in Jeffrey Wilson Homes. And I've seen a number of things, man. And I can be honest and be transparent and say this. Was the family the best or the greatest? No. Was it dysfunction? Yes. Living in poverty? Yes. But I'm standing proof that
Oh,
it's past possible, and I've seen a lot of things. Got to think about the time I came up, James, in the mid 80s, early 90s. that was a rough time in Portsmouth. We all know that crime rate was so high one time. We was #1 in the nation.
That's
Now
right.
here it is again, almost, how many, 30, 40 years later, it's like we teetering that way again. So there is a solution there. We do need the programs, we know that. And just like what you guys did for us, James, you and the Ray Smiths of the world that came out to Jeffrey Wilson. And I know you was in Lincoln Park as well, mentoring us young men. And Leah, I know you mentor young women. I'm pretty sure you do. And it's a big need right now, like just being a big brother. One thing I know growing up, what we had when I was about 14, 15 years old, Portsmouth had that youth worker program. That program in the summer, Miss Leah,
It was.
that was everything.
It
When
was
you got
everything.
that white t-shirt and them blue shorts,
Yes, indeed.
you know, you was either working with Parks and Rec, or you were working with PRHA, because they had people that was doing that type of the maintenance work too, had the young people doing that. So you had choices to pick when you go to work. And sometimes you get to go work at the city compound too.
Exactly.
And then when I became 16, I found out I could work for Parks and Rec. Then they brought me on as a youth worker. Man, that was making about $6, $7 back then, I believe, or something like that. But that was a
big
whole
money
lot of
then.
that was big money. So, you know, just thinking about those programs and those people that reached out with all the stuff that we had going on. Yes, I was exposed to drugs and everything, but I'm thankful to my brothers and the sisters and the people like y'all for reaching out and having those avenues in place. Like for me, the first time I think I went to Virginia Beach is when Ray took all of us down. There was about 6 of us from Jeffrey Wilson. And I was like, okay, this is the beach. Exposure, you know, that exposure. So, and we got to get back to exposing our young people. Okay, I played sports. It was my vehicle. It was my tool out. But it's life more than just sports. But sports does teach me discipline. I ain't taking that away from it. But, and when I'm talking to young people, I share with them all the time. I said, yeah. My brother sold dope, he did. Even my granddaddy was a bootlegger. And I don't knock neither one of them, because sometimes what happens is you're pushed into that corner because you don't know what to do and you got to make ends meet. Again, no excuse, not overlooking it. But most times in our community, that happens. And it happens a lot. It's like a cycle. And we really paying attention to it. It is a repetitive cycle. And my godson called me the other day. He's 19 years old. My godson, you know him, Miss Steph Farrell Lassiter. And he kind of just panicked, had something going on, and called me. And I talked to him about it, and I calmed him down. But I reminded him of the conversation we had when he graduated 2 years ago. He's going to Livingstone College, got a basketball scholarship, full ride, CIAA. Kudos to that. Yeah. So as I'm talking to him, I see how nervous he was. So guess what I noticed? I noticed that the subconscious PTSD showed up. He was shook. It happens to all of us. That's another thing we need to address. We have to address that ourselves. That is a real thing in our community. Do I go to therapy? Yes, I do. Have I been traumatized before? Yes, I have. I've seen some harsh things. I've seen people shot at, and so on and so on and so on. Do we want to relive those traumas? No. That's why we put blinders on and blockers up. You know, but we'll just see what's going on now. It's like it's turned up like 20 times compared to when I was coming up. And I know y'all remember that. Y'all remember that back then we was coming up in that mid-90s. Stuff was going on, but not like it is now. It's like the thought process. They have no remorse. It's really shoot 'em up, bang bang. It's really Wild Wild West for real. We ain't even talking. We just battle.
There's no thought process isn't going on anymore.
No cognitive at all. No cognitive. It's like cognitive dissonance. There it is. That's the word I want to use. Cognitive dissonance.
That's right.
So I'm grateful for the village. I will say that. And James, we were talking the other night, and I know you wanted me to mention this, and this happened to me. It's a true story. The guy who brutally beat my mom to a pulp, it paralyzed her. I seen him 3 times, y'all. 3 times. First time I seen him, I was on the school bus. I could have got off. I could have got him. Second time I seen him, we were on Turnpike Road by Norcom. When Norcom was still up on Turnpike Road. We still had Mid-City back then. I saw him cross the street. I ran across the street and I walked past him and I looked back. God spoke to me and said, no, you can't do it. You got to be the one to break the generational curse in your family.
Amen.
So I understand that I'm standing on the shoulder of a giant. So I'm thankful for the answers. The third time that I saw him, y'all, I was working with Portsmouth Parks and Rec for the summer coming home from college. So it was my freshman year home from college. And I seen him. I ran up to him and said, Robert, And I went up to him and shook his hand and said, I forgive you. He was startled. He didn't know whether to run or what, but I forgave him. I ain't forget. Don't get me wrong. I didn't forget, but I had to forgive him. And me forgiving him allowed me to grow.
Exactly.
It allowed me to grow. And I lost my mom 24 years ago. Let's speed up to the day. On May 25th, 26th, I lost my biological father. Actually, I'm grown as a grown man, but I believe in me. This is my insight on this. I grew up that day. That was the day I had to grow up. Both of my biological parents are gone. I'm 43 years old. So to lose one at 19 and lose one at 43, it still hurt.
Right.
And what I'm seeing most times when I'm talking to these young people, they just looking for somebody to listen, and they hurting. They hurting. We all hurt. Everybody hurt. No matter how the pain, the hurt is hurt. So we got to find some ways to remedy this with the mental health counselors. They work. The mentoring works, but we got it. This exposure is everything. And what it's not that we're poor. We need resources. It is what it is. You know, even when I know I won't poor, I was running around in the dirt and Jeff Wilson ain't had no grass, but I was happy as I could be.
You didn't realize you didn't have any grass.
I realized I'm just running around playing, making little mud pies and doing all this other stuff. But but we got some work to do, and we can't do it by ourselves. Like you all is a village to me. And like when you asked me to come back and speak at NORCM, it's a no-brainer for me. When you ask me to come back and speak at any school in Portsmouth, it's a no-brainer. I'm gonna make sure I'm there because I know these kids need to hear that story. And I'm speaking to Black males too, and I'm speaking to everybody, humans, period. But I know that young Black boys need to see me.
Yes, they do.
Even the young ladies need to see me. I want my daddy to be like that. I want my brother to be like, they need to see it. Because the images we see on TV all the time are not the most positive light.
And many that they see in their communities are not of the positive light. So,
yes, ma'am. And they need to see light.
Exactly.
And David,
yes, sir,
David,
go ahead.
you know, and you mentioned what you went through, what you saw when you were coming up in Jeffrey Wilson, which could have been in any neighborhood. What was the main thing? You said your brothers helped you, but you could have easily gone another way. And I know, I mean, Ray stepping in and doing that, but some of the guys that Ray started with didn't end up with him either. It still was hard for them to stay straight and narrow.
Yeah.
What was one of the main things that that made you say, I just don't want to go that way? And I know all these other things, but you had to decide within yourself, even though you had all these people helping, it still was a conscious decision you had to make. So what was it that really, kept you going, on the straight and narrow?
I wanted more, James. I seen my environment, I seen where I came from, and I just wanted it, man. I wanted to succeed, as my mentor Eric Thomas say. I wanted to succeed bad as I want to breathe, and I like breathing. I like that. I like breathing, and that's really what it boils down to a lot of times. That willpower, just like it was said to me, you can't buy heart. Did I hit the right side? Yeah, you can't buy heart. You can't buy that.
And you said you had to overcome that hurt because hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
And,
yes, sir.
And that's one of the problems that probably some of the youth have now. They are hurt, so they have no problem hurting anybody else because they want them to be like they are. So you had to get over that hurt. Prime example, what you told the story about you going up to somebody you knew abused your mother, but you had to be the man in that situation and say, well.
And for me, it was like a spiritual journey. And it was like, you got to change it. It's audibly, like I heard it, like you got to be the one to change it. So I understand where I stand. I stand on the shoulder of giants. I had to break the curse in my family. My uncle said it at my wedding. I'll never forget it, 14 years ago. My nickname is Money, y'all that know me. And he said, Money got it right. That was his words out of his mouth. He said, Money got it right. As they say, you're picked out to be picked on. I was picked. And don't get me wrong, I went through my trials and tribulations too. I was attacked, and when I was in college, a whole lot of stuff. Tried to say I did something. They tried to give me a record and everything. Miss Leah, you hear me?
I know.
But guess who was my attorney? Judge Melvin.
Oh, Kenny.
Look, and here's the love. He didn't even charge me for it. That's love.
That's Ken.
That's love.
Ken.
You hear me? See, people don't know them stories.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. and forgive me, y'all, the people that's watching, and I know probably are watching, just know, it ain't, I love you, but my head, it's, call to my head. I can't call them names right now, but I'm thankful for the village in Portsmouth, Virginia, and the surrounding areas in the region that helped me, and assist me along the way. But back to that thing, man. And I just got appointed, by the way, Leah, to everyone, to the third district of my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, as the vice chair for fatherhood initiative and mentoring.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Got some work to do.
Well,
Got
yes,
some
you
work
do.
to do.
Yes, you do.
Got some work to do. So, and just to segue, I know you're gonna ask me about the businesses soon, James. Just to segue into the nonprofit I have, it's called AIM, Action in Motion, and it's geared towards youth and young adults. That employment incubator, what we was talking about, that was the passion. The summer program, that was really the passion for it. And people are like, well, you're going after the high achievers and the athletes. I said, really, I'm not. I want to go after the kids in the middle and those kids that are getting lost, because they always forget about the ones in the middle and the ones that are teetering over here. High achievers, I work with them. Don't get me wrong. But those ones in the middle and those ones that are on the fence, that's like, about to fall off. I had to say, we got to figure out something for them to do. All young people, don't get me wrong, all young people, but what about the ones in the middle? They always get left out.
They fall through the cracks in the sidewalk. Nobody realizes where they are.
There we go.
What their needs are. So
that was the reason about the program with entrepreneurship. So excited about homecoming. I said, use your platform, Davy. So it was a party that we have all the time, that the Omegas called the Shorty Short, but I switched it and called it the Hawaiian Luau. What is it? The Hawaiian Luau. Let me get it right, y'all.
Take your time.
And now look.
You having senior moments?
Yes, I am. I am, Miss Leah. I'm having a senior moment right now, but I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. The Hawaiian Luau, remember the time. Okay. So by doing that, during the homecoming season, I said, what better way to use my platform to raise money for the nonprofit, but also give scholarships back to my alma mater of Norfolk State University. So just to segue in, and we're going to have that at Roger Brown's on October 14th. I got to get a shameless plug for that. So I'm real excited about that. And Leah, I'll say it right now in front of everybody. I look forward to working with you to get this alumni T-shirt for Norfolk State, for Norfolk State, but also for IC Norfolk.
IC Norfolk,
and to get this thing going for the association, man. And it's just real exciting, and just to be involved. And James, it's real humbling to be from Jeffrey Wilson, because I don't think it ever happened, and it was broke down to me, to be from Jeffrey Wilson, from the public house, and be the chair of it. I don't think that happened either. So again, I made history, but again, this ain't about me. God got that thing lined up the way he wanted to go. Even when I failed, he got it lined up. I said, no, it's a lesson. It's just a lesson.
Yeah. What better person to chair than a person that came from those humble beginnings?
Both sides of it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And you did a magnificent job when you were there.
Thank you so much.
Helping a lot of people and help advance that organization.
Yes, sir. And look, when I found it, they were in the red. When I left, it was in the black. And business, y'all, when you in the red, that ain't good.
Yeah.
And when you leave and it's in the black, when you're in the black, that means your money, your coffers look real good. That means you got money to spend, you got stuff to do. So I left it better than I found it. And that was a blessing to be a part of it. And after I got out of there, I really, really got focused and honed in on my business, which is Smith Consulting and Networking LLC. And right now, working with my partners on some development deals where it boils down to building homes, houses, hotels. I'm so excited right now, y'all. Look, I just went through a program called Apex 31 where I lost 44 pounds in 31 days, Miss Leah. You hear me?
You went through what?
I went through a program called Apex 31 where I lost 44 pounds in 31 days doing intermittent fasting and just changing my lifestyle. And I wouldn't change it for the world. And I'm about to go through my second round starting Monday. Right? I was 295, now I'm 251. And the next goal is to get back to that college weight, 215, 225, and then I'm done. And I remain that way because I changed my lifestyle.
Where does this program take place?
This program, if you go to my site on Davy Smith III, follow me on Facebook or whatever, you'll see it up there, Apex 31, and it's my little code. You can check it out, and I'll make sure you get it too. I'll make sure you get it as well. But Apex 31 is the program, but I have a link that's associated with me, and that thing's taking off so fast to the point they called me and said this to me. Sir, you're doing so well. I know we're not paying you to do this, but we want you to be the ambassador. We want to pay you. Look at God.
Every time.
So just being me, being genuine,
but
being
you know
myself.
what? I look at all of this And it all takes me back to the incident with the gentleman, I won't call him, the man who brutally beat your mother.
Yes.
And the thing is that you learn what the ultimate in forgiveness is. And so many of us don't realize what it is. I know that I was in a situation with someone, and I know I said, I will never, ever, ever forgive that person. Well, I was carrying the weight of the unforgiveness. The person had forgotten all about what had taken place. You know, they were living free. I was being tortured by holding on to that. So you did the ultimate thing in forgiving that man. That's ultimate forgiveness. Someone who has brutalized your mother, and you can walk up to them and say, I forgive you. And that's when it was released. It was released that you can move on to where you need to be. Move on to the where you're moving, journeying towards right now. You know,
yes,
it gave you
yes,
that ability.
ma'am.
But if you were still harboring that hate, you would be stagnant.
Come
You
on.
would be stagnant. You would be sitting still and not be able to do anything.
Well, you know what, Leah? As I listen to you, Davy, there's a couple points there. Is one, I love how you have gone through history, you know, through your life and this longevity thing. And even though you're still young,
Yes, sir.
and, you haven't absorbed that holier than thou thing. So you know, and you let the young kids and those around you know that yes, I've been around that stuff, and I'm not holier than thou. I'm not, you know, all this, you know, Bible thumping kind of thing. I've never made a mistake kind of thing. And you've improved your life and then moved on and done the right things. And when you talk about, you know, you saw the guy that beat your mother up. The part of forgiveness is just one aspect of it, but you also made the conscious decision saying there are repercussions if I strike him down.
Amen.
Do something crazy right here. I'm in the system. I will never get out. And that's another piece to that.
Yes, sir.
And I think a lot of the kids will let the emotions get to them and strike out, you know, and 2 seconds after they've done it and saying, oh no, I wish I never would have done it, but it's too late.
And Colonel Chapman, God rest the soul of my best friend, Kelvin Hoggett. That was my fraternity brother. He died from heart problems, and I found him in his house a few years ago in Churchland. He said something to me that sticks with me to this day. Think twice and react once.
Amen.
Don't make a permanent decision in a temporary situation.
Amen. Amen.
Because you just thinking twice. That split second, it can be life or death a lot of times. Real point blank period. You know. So once he said that to me, because I was angry, just venting to him, telling him what was going on with me, that I still hold on to that to this day. You know. And one of my fraternity brothers said, when I got my mind set on something, it's set. So that's when Mr. Relentless shows up, Leah. Relentless. As you always say, relentless. And just being focused, you know, it's just like, I'm in a different space. And then you probably can feel it in my energy. I'm like, I'm in a different space. I know I'm blessed. And I know that there's a lot of things I got to do before I leave here. My goal at the end of the day is this. Heard Dr. Miles Monroe say this, and it stuck with me. My goal is to die empty. And I ain't talking about my organs being taken out of my body and all this other stuff. I'm talking about every dream, every idea, every aspiration. I want to get it out before I leave Earth.
Amen. Amen.
That's what I want to do. That's for Davy, you know. And if I can share that with other folks, as I heard Les Brown said, the mystic Dr. Herman said, the man was laying on his deathbed. He said this. He said the dreams and ideas were talking to him and said, we came to you. And now we got to leave with you because you didn't get us out.
Amen.
So think about it. Everybody on this call, everybody watching, everybody's an author. You just got to publish your book. Everybody up here. They got a gift, they got a story. You got a story to tell. You can sell merchandise. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And look, and I love it even better when you got a positive message. Somebody told me I was too positive, James. I started laughing at them. I said, that's not such a thing. I'm too positive. I never forget that. That made me be more positive. So I can't help for being me. That's all I know to be. I know that's it. I know to be Davy Smith III. And as they say, I'll say my Yoruba name, Umawale. That means child is returned home. That's my name in Yoruba, Nigerian. So, you know, I returned home. You found it, right, Leah? I returned home to Portsmouth. I didn't leave and go. I left for a little while, but I came back. You know, and I tell the kids, I said, if you can't get out, go. You can come back, but go be great. Still represent where you're from when you're there. Take what you learned at Norcom, go. Take what you learned in Portsmouth, public schools, go. Become better. All of us on this call, we supposed to evolve till we leave this earth. Period.
Exactly.
I sound like I'm preaching right now, but I'm just
I'm ready for you to go into the pulpit about right now, you know.
Pass the plate. Pass the plate.
Also, are you still doing the mentoring program? Is it Boys to Men or?
Boys to Men. I haven't talked to Joe in a while, but I mean, I'm willing to do it, you know. But you know, that was something that Joe Hansley, like I partnered with him with his program, Joe Hansley Foundation. And just like with Ames, just learning to partner with people, just like I'm waiting to talk to Eugene right now, Eugene Swinson, to partner with him with the homies program. So we're working together. We may not be doing a lot of stuff visibly, but you're gonna see it's coming. So we are talking. All of us are talking together.
And that's what I like, because in looking at this study that we're doing with the Bloomberg Harvard study, if we can have more organizations to come together and work together, you could accomplish so much more. If we can get out of the idea that I am in charge, it is my organization, these are my children. No, they're all of our children. So if we could all come together and work together, we could have such a major impact on the children here in the city of Portsmouth. Instead of having this little group over here with 5, this little group over here with 10, this little group over here with 15, if you just pool it all together and come up with that master plan, we would be in a better place.
And Davy, I've watched you with the youth and your interaction with the youth, and the key word there is interaction, because what you do with them, you don't allow them to sit there and their mind wander off. You make sure they're involved in whatever you're doing, because you'll point them out and ask them questions and make sure, because kids, you know, their minds will wander, and you have to make sure you reach them, and you make sure you reach them. And anytime you're talking to them, you at any point you might call on one of them, so the rest of them will know I better pay attention, you know. So and how important you think that is, because a lot of people try to deal with the youth, and a lot of people, like Leah was saying, a lot of people are so much into what they're doing, they're not really focusing on what they should be doing for the youth, you know. And some youth come through the program learning nothing. And you know, I'm not calling anybody out, but you know, we all know it's been programs like that, or some people out there.
It happens in every program, you know. I caught myself at one time, got so caught up, and then I said, "Whoa, humble yourself." You know, I had to talk to myself, had a self moment, you know, because most times when you're dealing with this stuff, it's any of us, it's me versus me. You're not my enemy, James. Most times I'm in my own way. I got to get up my own way.
Exactly.
So what I'm learning with this, when I'm dealing with the kids, and just like you said, learning how to interact, and that was a thing I was taught over time with the storytelling. It's like a call and response. You know about I see you do it all the time with the young babies, Leah, when you're working with
call and response is what it's all about.
Response. That's just right. Like in church, we learned that. Colonel, military, call and response. James, we played sports, call and response. So those things, if you really think about it, and we go back to it, it's really tribal. If you really want to go there, I ain't gonna go too deep, but it's very tribal. So that's by nature we do. So we got to get back to those things. Sometimes when I'm working with the kids, I try not to have barriers like a table. I want to sit back in a circle. That's communal. So, you know, just bringing those things back in that are from our ancestors that I know that work, you know, building the relationship, coming in with the right energy, because people can feel the authenticity when you come in the room.
Exactly.
So, you know,
children read you like this. They read you as soon as you walk through the door. They know what you're bringing to the table.
Here's the thing I've learned. Energy never lies. I'm gonna say it again. It's a t-shirt too. I'll be putting it out soon. Energy never lies. Never lies. So just to segue real quick, I want to share something with you, James. I was on your radio show, right? With you when you had the radio show, Slim Talk. Here it is now. I'm part of a network called KRSB Network, dealing with HBU sports, HBCU sports.
Yeah.
Tapping into that. Who would ever think that?
Yeah.
Made me a shareholder. I'm part of it. Made me like, hey, Dave, we want you to do PR because you know how to be personal, you know, with people. And, you know, they're still teaching me some of the nuances of, you know, radio and stuff like this. And when I'm on television, how to talk. And again, I'm thankful to Portsmouth because guess what? A lot of times, Ms. Lee, I got thrown in front of the camera and I was ready to talk.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's another thing we got to do too with our children. We start media training everyone. So when the camera do hit them, they know how to handle themselves.
Yes.
That's
a
true.
component.
That is
They
so
need
true.
to know that. You know, everybody's not going to play sports, and that's okay. Not knocking athletes, but everybody's not going to do that.
Well, you know
Somebody
what?
got to go ahead, Colonel.
But you know what? And that's the other piece, that even the ones that make it in professional sports can't talk. And so once their careers are over, it is a wrap.
So
and they have nothing else to fall back onto.
It has to be a 5-year plan when you know you get to a certain contract.
Yep.
What are we doing on the way out?
Yes.
So I know I ain't playing football no more. People want me to coach, want me to do a whole lot of stuff. But I'm in a lane where they said, okay, why you got all these companies, Davey? Why you getting picked up on all this stuff? And then I said to them, I said, you know anything about Warren Buffett? They said, yeah, I do. I said, did you know that he owns Geico in Virginia Beach? They looked at me like, what? I said, do you see the town bank signs that say town, Berkshire halfway town?
Mm-hmm.
I said, why can't you do that too?
Mm-hmm.
I said, you ain't got to be all loud. You can go around here wearing shorts and a t-shirt all day and be a billionaire. Nobody will never know it.
And you notice most of the billionaires, if you ever see them, old cars, clothes that you probably wouldn't want to put on. They have no need to expose who they are.
It's just a mind shift.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
I think Les Brown said it. He said, once the mind is stretched, you can't go back.
Mm-hmm.
So once we're exposed to what we're exposed to, you actually don't supposed to go back, because now you know better. You do better.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And again, this show today is not to knock nobody. I just want to see you do more, do better. You want more, do more. Come on, let's go. Grow.
David,
work on you.
That's what I'm.
Remember, James, one thing, Ira Darden says, thanks for introducing me to a positive mentor for the youth in Portsmouth. People like him can save the city. You all continue to do great work informing citizens. So James, hey,
yeah,
and Davy and the Colonel, that's our purpose.
Yeah, thanks for that, Ira. And Ira grew up down the street from me. He's one of my homies, and he's a frequent watcher of the show, and lives in Maryland, but still very concerned about what goes on in Portsmouth. So he feels good about what you have to say, David.
Exactly.
You know, because most of the time he's frustrated, at what's going on. And I just wanted to say I'm glad to see what Coach Hawkins and the AD Young are doing with the young athletes and student athletes, trying to prepare them, because we get to the point where if an athlete makes pro or something like that and he's on the top of his game, we accept that he might not be able to talk, in the camera, but we won't accept anybody in the boardroom, misusing the King's English.
Exactly.
So, you have to start with those athletes now. You can't, you have to tell them, you can be cool and have a command of the King's English. I mean, look at Coach Savage.
Hey, look.
I mean,
look. As a matter of fact, you mentioned Coach Savage.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first recipient of his scholarship. I think it was class of. I think it was Mr. Bill Gibson, my late frat brother, Principal Gibson, that passed away.
Gibson.
I was the first recipient of the scholarship they named after Dr. Horace Savage. No bull. I was the first recipient. Here's the flip side. I ended up joining the fraternity of those gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see the influence there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to the same university that Principal Gibson went to and pledged the same chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you see what happens when we get around that environment and that culture. It happens. Some of us gonna become politicians. Some become businessmen, businesswomen. Some gonna become great athletes and go on. Some gonna become lawyers. But we all got a lane. We all got a lane. And when you find your niche, and it's like the spidey sense, you know what I mean? You'll feel it. You'll know. It's like a knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's all about exposure early on. Just like you said, exposure. Ray. I mean, you first time going to Virginia Beach because Ray took you, and
right.
just kids being exposed to things. I think Leah brought something up about that. A few stories we had, a few shows we had back, that some kids never even leave the neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
They heard about Virginia Beach. and being exposed, and they're not being exposed to anything. Only thing they know is that street life, and that accepts them, like we talked about.
That's right. Hey,
So
James,
it's
the first.
exposure from mentors,
Mhm.
exposure from exposing them to the arts,
That's right.
things that they don't normally
That's
see
right.
will make a difference at their young age. Make a difference at their young age.
James,
And
the first
go
time
ahead,
I rode
go
a
David.
the
I'm
first
sorry.
time I rode a plane, the first time I rode a plane, sophomore year of college, flying out to I think we was playing Bethune-Cookman or either Florida A&M, one of the two. And I was sitting by a fellow linebacker, like I was behind him, on the depth chart. I was like second in line, second string, basically. And I never forget it that he picked with me the whole time. You ain't never been on a plane, have you? Just picking with me the whole time, but still a funny because I was nervous, but still just like everybody ain't gonna go to college. It's okay. Some people are gonna be white collar, blue collar, whatever, and you still gonna make great money and make an impact. Not to negate that, but just my experience alone, that was my first time riding a plane. That's what I'm getting at. So once that got, it broadened my horizons, I can't stop traveling now. I done been out of the country several times. I mean, like just, with my wife, with my fraternity, bro. Like, I'm like, whoa, I'm really like, I'm from Jeffrey Wilson. All I'm thinking is I'm from Project Drive. That comes back to mind. I remember running up and down Turnpike Road. I remember crossing through Norcom to go to McDonald's and get me something to eat. I remember all that. I was a little kid, so I'm gonna go to Norcom. I'm gonna go to Norcom. And lo and behold, by the time I got to my junior year, I was in Norcom.
You're in Norcom.
So I put it out there. So, and be careful what you say too, young people and
That's
older
right.
people.
You speak
The
things
universe
into
is listening.
existence.
The universe is listening. God is listening. So be
That's
careful
right.
what you put in the air.
That's
Yeah,
right.
indeed.
Yes, go ahead,
Speak,
Do
Sean.
that.
You about to say something.
speak it into existence.
Dave, you talked about being on the plane for the first time and going out of country and all that. We already brought up the exposure. That exposure is part of your educational program that you're on now, self-awareness. And a lot of kids, like Leah was saying a couple of shows ago, have not gotten that experience. And so that is the key piece with a lot of the nonprofits that we already talked about. There's trying to give the exposure to these kids, and hopefully it opens their eyes to the possibilities that, yes, I don't have to follow after the bad influences and slinging the stuff, because there are no retired drug dealers out there.
That's right.
I don't have to knock grandma in the head to get that, take a pocketbook when she comes out of 7-Eleven. And so that's a big piece that that needs to be said also.
And Leah, I want to mention this to two of my other partners real quick. Defined Arts. Also, I've worked with D1 Savage down there, Brit as well. And also GLS Presents. That's my fraternity, brother, where we do, paraphernalia for the Greeks and all that stuff. And the experience I had at my Grand Conclave was incredible. And I came back without COVID, so that was a good thing. But that experience, just creating partnerships, and like you said, these relationships. And I'm gonna roll out a new T-shirt soon that says "Relationship Capital," because that is the most important thing that we have. That relationship is better than money itself, because the relationship will lead you to money. And I'll say it again: relationship capital ain't nothing like it. You're like, well, man, how you go in this room and we all way here in Houston and you got this? I said, man, it's about relationships. I'm big about building relationships. Some stuff like what did it say? God will go before your enemies. So by the time you get there, even though it's something there to get you and you can't even see it, it got taken care of already.
It's taken care of. I know when I went to South Africa with Dr. Sullivan, and everybody was saying, well, Leah, where you going? How come you're not going back home with us? I says, well, I'm going to Lesotho. Bismarck Marek is in Lesotho. He's a Norcom graduate, built that relationship there and got a chance to stay in the embassy and with he and his daughter and to spend time there. So, and it's all about the relationships that you build, and these and you run into folks constantly, every place you go, as long as you maintain a decent, respectful relationship.
There it is.
It works for you. It works for you.
Hey, your gift will make room for you.
It will indeed.
Your gift will make room for you. But you got any other questions, James? I see. I'm looking at you,
Yeah, I was
James. You
going
got
to
something. I know
say.
you got something. Go
No,
ahead.
I was going to say serving on those boards and commissions also was a part of your growth as well,
Yes, sir.
and just like I try to encourage people that live in the city to volunteer
Hmm.
for those boards and commissions
Yeah.
because you never know. I mean, the planning commission, you make future connections with,
Yes.
things that you're doing now with your businesses.
Hey,
You
look.
couldn't, while you were chairman, you couldn't do
That's
so
right.
much,
I
but
couldn't.
you
I
make
couldn't. I
those
Exactly.
couldn't.
connections for the future.
Couldn't touch nothing. But now, within the last 12 years that I served, you know how many relationships I built.
Hmm.
And you think about this, my portfolio looks good. I am a developer on the public side when you look at it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Westbury is there because of me.
Mhm.
What else we got? We got a lot of the restaurants you see, Kroger.
Mm-hmm.
I can keep going. I think Newport was here before I made the decision,
Mm-hmm.
but you see where I'm going. I was a part
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
casino thing when it was on the water, remember, before they moved it over here. And now it's in front of my house. I ain't mad. My property value going. I'm okay with it. But just like you say, being at that room and being at the table and help move this city forward, even when we was going through the turmoil, even when I was being attacked, I kept my posture. I
Hmm.
still stayed respectful.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, it got to the point when they were getting disrespectful, and I kept it, as the young people would say, I kept it 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got my posture up and just say, one thing you're gonna do, you're gonna respect me and talk to me with respect.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happened? I'm being 6'2", 6'3", Leah. So you already know they're like, I got to be careful how I go at him. I don't know if he gonna hit. I ain't gonna hit you or nothing like that, but you
Uh-huh.
ain't gonna punk me.
Hmm.
But
And I
David, that's
told him,
just like when you didn't get your reappointment. I told you greater things were out there for you.
you
You
said
you
it.
you
You
did not
said it.
need that reappointment. It was not time for you to receive the reappointment. It was
Well,
You
time for
said it.
you to move to the next level. You know,
Hey,
that
look,
that was all
go ahead.
politics,
all
and
Yeah,
politics.
that's all. That's all it was. It's all.
and it's unfortunate it gets like that
Mhm.
because the person is in a volunteer position. He's giving up his time and energy, and because you might want one of your friends to hold that position, you know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
And
But
James,
Hey,
and you
Cat.
have to also look at the
Hey,
fact, was he working well on the job? He was doing a good job on the job. So
yeah,
there were no legitimate reasons as to why he should have been removed, but it was politics.
yeah,
Well, talking about politics, but in the end effects, it freed you.
It did.
Go on
yes,
to
It did.
yes.
yeah. So
Look,
there you go. It freed you.
hey, hey, Colonel. My wife said it best. She said, "God moved you out the way." I said, "Lord, go ahead, go
yeah.
ahead."
That's
And
all.
She knew what
by,
was about to happen.
by that time, David, you'd already had the experience of the benefits of the
Come
experience
on.
that you have
Mhm.
from serving
Hey,
on that
look.
board.
Right now, James, I still got people calling me from Gary, Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana,
Mm.
Chicago, Champaign, Tampa, Houston, that I've made relationships with in the industry.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So guess what now? Now that I'm a consultant, I go back and I just join as a consultant. That's it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's all. I mean, ain't no love lost. Hey, how you doing? I still keep it moving. It's all good.
Uh-huh.
you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm.
So but like you said, Leah, I got moved out the way. It's all right. It's okay. I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm at,
sometimes
I'm happy.
God has to move us out of our own way.
Come on,
You
that's
know,
right.
and
What I say, me versus me.
often tell the children, sometimes we get comfortable where we are. And it's so
Yes.
comfortable. We're just used to doing what we're doing. So it becomes very comfortable. And I tell them about the eagle, how the eagle, when she wants her babies to leave the nest,
Mm,
sometimes she put thickets in the nest to make it uncomfortable. And with the
mm,
thickets in the nest, then the baby eagles have to go out and fly. And it's the same thing for us. We get comfortable in what we're doing. And sometimes we need something to motivate us, to
that's
get
right.
us to realize it's
That's
time for
right.
us to move. It's time for us to
That's
move
right.
and do something else,
That's
you
right.
know? So the thickets
Yeah.
were put in your nest for you to
Come
get
on.
out and fly.
Come
Yes.
on. I know that's right. And look, and look, and I'm okay with it. The shirt says it all.
Behold,
Behold. That's
behold.
it. Behold. So, and I ain't even got to say nothing else for all my Spartans out there and everybody else, and you know, my frat brothers and everybody, friends, family. Man, let me tell you something. Grab life by the horns
That's right.
and go at it. Because
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing: life will hit you in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you as a mother, you know this, Leah. You know when you caught your son saying something he ain't supposed to say, and hit him in the mouth. When we do that,
Mm-hmm.
life will do you the same way.
They
Hit
do
you
the same
square,
thing.
pop, hit you right in your
Uh-huh.
mouth. But you just got to be ready. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody hard till they get punched in the face.
How about that?
And that's a true statement. True
That is a
statement
very
indeed.
true statement.
But man, I'm just excited, y'all. I mean, everything it seems like I'm putting my hand to is growing. So that's a blessing. I thank God for using me as a vessel, and that I can be a conduit for change.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm noticing not just in my city, but now it's starting to happen regionally. It's starting to move out. I have other people
Mm-hmm.
from other cities talking to me and advice. How do you go about this? How do you go about that? And I let them know. Some people I talk to, but now let them know. So I'm a consultant, right? I'll
Mhm.
stop real quickly
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because you're paying these other people for the information.
That's right. That's right. That's
So let's
right.
Mhm.
stop right there.
Yep,
But
I'm
it,
yep.
still a
but it, but
businessman.
all in your growth. In your growth.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Don't forget, we still have to continue to reach back and pull somebody else up along the way.
That's
Yes.
right.
You
And I ain't
know,
got no problem. And I have no problem with that. I have no problem
Yeah.
with that at all. Especially if they're willing, Leah. If they're willing.
exactly,
If
If
you're
they're
exactly,
willing.
willing. If
Yes.
they're
exactly,
willing. My mentor
exactly.
taught me this in Legal Shield a while ago, and he's still my mentor. And I still get paid from that too. He says this to me: if you walk, I'll walk. If you jog, I'll jog.
Mm-hmm,
If you run, I'll run.
mm-hmm,
And that's with me, right? But
mm-hmm.
if you stop, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stop.
That's it. That's it.
That's a
Mhm.
two-way street.
It is a
That's that's
two-way
that's
street.
called that's reciprocating, right? There you go.
Reciprocity.
Mhm.
Reciprocity. There you go.
Reciprocity.
That's
Yes,
the word I'm looking for. Reciprocity.
exactly.
Yeah.
Reciprocity.
So that matters.
Mm-hmm.
It's a transaction in everything. Everything
It
we do is
is.
always a
It
transaction.
is.
And
It
in that
is.
transaction, there's a relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But you know what?
But
Here's another point too. I'd like to
yes,
point
sir.
out. You as a Norcom athlete went to Norfolk State as an athlete,
Hmm.
and what did you major in?
I majored in social work, but I want to give you a sidebar real quick. I'm in the Hall of Fame too, class of 2017, Norcom alumni. I mean, Norcom Hall of
Oh,
Fame.
we know that. We know
Okay,
that, David.
yes, yes. So, but I was getting to the point
Yes,
that as
sir.
an athlete is that you didn't burn your time like a lot of athletes do, just to stay academic. I mean, athletically eligible to play. They take a lot of, a lot of athletes just take little remedial stuff or just to stay. You didn't burn your time. And so it paid off in the long run. And so that's the point I want to get to. These
Hey,
athletes that got a free ride,
hey,
don't burn
Colonel.
your time.
Colonel, I also set a bar for myself, a goal to graduate in 4 years, and I did it. I walked in May and finished in July.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I did it in 4 years. I said I would do it in 4 years. As a student athlete, and that's not easy.
It's
Yeah.
not
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Being a student athlete in college is like having a job. Same thing in
It
high
is.
school,
It
but
is.
just
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
It is.
college is it just turns up a little more.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I wonder how athletes do it, with the travel and,
Mindset, man.
you
And
know,
you got to live in day type compartments. You got to
yeah.
live in
Mm-hmm.
day type compartments. Like you can't, just like now, I don't play with my time. I lose money is one thing, but my time I can't get back.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly.
I can get more money. I just can't get more time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can
So I
double up
I,
on
I
your money.
I say that when I talk to the athletes, I say you need to put yourself in a day type compartment. I'm just sorry. That's just what it is. You're on a
Mm-hmm.
mission here to get a degree. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna make some friends along the way. But when you get to football, you got to focus on football.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Period. You got to focus on that. Between them lines, you know your plays. I said that's just gonna make y'all great. Them little things,
Mm-hmm.
not jumping offside. Make sure
Hmm.
everybody hitting that right angle. You know on your
Mm-hmm.
assignment. On this play, I know I'm supposed to blitz. Okay, I know I put a delay to blitz on this play. On this play right here, I'm at linebacker. Okay, I'm gonna be the Sam backer. All right, we go to nickel. I know they're not to come out the game. The coach says stay because he want me to cover the receiver. Those little nuances, just to
Mm-hmm.
give you a football knowledge, you got to know your stuff. Okay, all right. If I know this guy putting down his hand real heavy, he's sitting heavy. I see them knuckles. Okay, it's a run play. Or he's sitting light. They're gonna pass. This
Mm-hmm.
just knowing the game as an athlete. Being a student of the game, as they say. And those are the little nuances I started learning when I started studying film. I could predict what was going to happen because I knew what the play was going to do in this down and distance. Oh, they said, oh man, he made the play, he picked the ball off. Kind of knew it. I was studying. Same thing in the classroom. We just got to study. Study to show ourselves approved. Is that the
Exactly.
word? Man, I've
Exactly.
been preaching the whole time and I ain't even trying to, but the word just coming
Ah,
out.
so you're not even trying to, huh?
I ain't even trying to.
Mm.
But a
But
lot of those are life lessons as well.
yes, sir. That they are.
Being
They
able
do
to pay
transfer.
attention and watch and sort of
Mhm.
know the game plan,
That's it.
out
Yeah.
there in the world, whatever you're dealing with. Let me talk a little bit. How do you? And this is just going off. I don't know why I want to talk about this, but how do you think Norfolk State's football team is going to do this year? I mean,
Why did
what
you
is it
laugh,
looking like?
James? Why did you laugh when you
Yeah,
said that?
yeah. I'm trying to figure out
I
why he
want to know
laughed
why the
too.
laugh, why the chuckle,
Huh?
why the chuckle when you asked that question.
No, something
Why the
came in
chuckle?
here and tickled my feet. I don't know
Oh,
what
okay.
it
I
was.
thought so. I thought so.
Yeah.
I saw a little chuckle in your voice.
But
That's all.
but I really think they're gonna have a great season. And I could be biased when I'm saying it because I'm an alum, but I think we're gonna have a great season just from talking with the coach and being able to build with him and see his psyche and what he to see his mindset and what he's doing and what he's planning for his players. And I got a chance to meet one of the top linebackers, Michael Hall. Me and him have been talking,
Mhm.
and I told him I said just here as one fellow Spartan to another. He did like me. He graduated on time and got extra time to play, so he did the same thing I did and playing linebacker too.
Mm.
And so, we got something in common. So, and the guy was sharp, man. I was there for the media day, and and by the way, the MEAC did the best. And the guy said this, I think on ESPN, we had the best media day out of all colleges,
Mm.
just the way it was set up.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
And
impressive.
the young lady, Karen McCarty, she did a great job. She works for the MEAC. She's an Norfolk State alum, behold, but
Mhm.
she's over there doing an amazing job with the
Mhm.
commissioner over there. And
Mhm.
it's just powerful to see people you grew up with and personally doing what they do and they walking in their gift, one of their gifts anyway.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's a beautiful thing. And just to see that and feel the energy from the coaches talking to him, I said, I think this is going to be a great season because they only got 6 teams in the MEAC for
Mm.
football. So just having the 6 teams,
Only
basically,
6? You said 6?
it's only 6. Yeah, it's only
Yeah.
Oh,
6.
okay.
Because remember,
Okay.
we had a lot of people leave. Remember, you had
Okay.
A&T
Yeah.
leave, you had
Yeah. That's
Hampton
right. That's
leave,
right. That's right.
FAM and Bethune. We had 10.
Uh-huh.
So right now, the competition, if you look at last season, a lot of scores weren't that big between them losing and winning
Hmm.
with folks. Norfolk State just dropped the ball in the end last year. That's all. It kind of went left field because they were running the table. Because ever since after they played the top teams, they was on a streak. And then once they got towards the end, they lost them 2 games. We could have pulled it off and went to the Celebration Bowl. But what I see for them this year, with a lot of returners and a lot of players they got, I think they have opportunity to run the table. Once they get through those games we talked about, those, the money games traveling, and they might surprise somebody. Who knows? We never know. Any given Saturday, right, y'all? Any given Saturday. Anything can happen. But of course, like I said, I'm being biased because it's my team. I want them to win.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And
I'm kind of biased.
I brought that up, even though we were talking about all the subjects we were talking about, how important it is for the alums and the
Yes.
fans around here to support,
And just
these
because you segue,
HBCUs and their
I'm glad you
athletic
said,
programs.
look, you segue on that. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My fellow Spartans out there watching, I challenge you all. If we can fill up this stadium for just 5 games, we could change the whole culture of Norfolk State University football.
Mm-hmm.
If we can fill up this stadium, y'all, 5 home games, 10 of them going to be on TV. So apparently 5 of those going to be at home. If we can fill that thing up, we're going to be on TV, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
We can fill that thing up. We change the culture of our university. We change the culture. We can change the culture. We are the culture. Let me remind you that. We are the culture.
Yeah.
That's a shirt, Leah.
I
We are
know.
the culture. That's a shirt, Leah. We
It
are
is
the
a shirt.
culture. So I'm gonna make the design as soon as I go upstairs. But we the culture, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Behold the green and
And
gold.
gold.
Let's go,
Amen.
y'all.
That's
And
right.
Leah, look, y'all, we got so passionate about it, the former football players, that we went and created our own nonprofit called Spartan Football Alumni.
Mm-hmm.
That's how passionate we got about it, because I said we got to find a way to help, to assist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's one way to do it. We created that machine and said, all right, we get to give the
Okay.
money.
So now you need to form the Norcom alumni football. Mm.
Look, I'm already on. Don't make me pull my list out. I'm already on.
I gotta talk to you about that too. Then.
Look, me and the coach already talked about it. He said, do it.
Okay. Well, I need to talk to you about something that was presented to me, and I'll talk to you after the show.
That's cool. Look, I look forward to it. Look, I already made a t-shirt that says Norcom Football Alumni.
Okay.
So
I'm through with you. I'm finished with you.
but we on it though. You get me?
Yeah,
Because my mind is I'm always thinking like,
yeah.
what's next? What's
Mhm.
next? What's next?
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned from my business partners is this: when we're doing these big development deals and we're doing this stuff, we always got an exit strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I got to have an exit strategy
Oh
because my
yeah.
thing is, okay, once I get this one done, what's the next project?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I ain't gonna keep living on the hype of this other one over here. What's the next project?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I done that. That's over. Like Denzel said, once a movie is done, it's done.
It's
Moving to
done.
the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did that, done that. I'd improved myself to do that. Okay, what can I do next?
Mm-hmm.
What can we do next? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I know we on the same wavelength. We on the same wavelength. Trust me, we are.
Okay.
We on the
And
same wavelength. Bro.
we're coming. Well, it won't be long before we be closing. But I wanted to, Davey and the co-host might have comments too. What would you say to, we need mentors out there, and
Mhm.
you've been a part of programs involving the mentors. But what would you say to potential or future mentors or these groups? And we kind of mentioned it early, all the different groups. What would be your advice to kind of coming together and to really make a difference? I mean, we hit on it earlier, like I said, but uh, closing remarks. What would you say? I mean,
I'll say this.
how can we bring these groups together?
Let's put our
Be-
affiliations to the side. Whether you're Greek, whether you're Baptist, whether you're I can't even think of nothing else, but you get where I'm going.
Mhm.
Let's put all that to the side. At the end of the day, we still all humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we still got to interact with each other. We still got to live around each other. So if each one can teach one, we can lift as we climb.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might not be the greatest speaker in the world, but you might be a great worker. You might not be a great worker, but you might be a great connector.
Mm-hmm.
We still need you. You still play a part. You know, I recommend a book for a lot of folks. Ego is the enemy. They say edging God out, ego.
Mm-hmm.
Just we gotta humble ourselves. That's all of us. Don't get me wrong, we got great gifts, but I gotta humble myself. I get a little chipper now and then I gotta come back down to earth. It happens to you. You're human. You know, we're all flawed.
Mm.
But just know, let's put the other stuff to the side and say, okay, this is about these kids. How can we help these kids? How can we help this community? How can we help this neighborhood? How can we help our city? And then after you get that right, then okay, how can we help our neighboring city? How can we get this region right? Do you understand where we're sitting at in this region? Oh my God, the things that are about to happen. You see a casino happening. You see an arena about to happen in Norfolk. We're about to become a metropolis. I see it coming. So we got to stop being so territorial that I can work with my neighbor across the river. I can work with my neighbor down by the beach. I can work with my neighbor out in the country. This ain't hard. I can go over to Hampton and talk to them and get what I need. I can go to Newport News and do the same thing. Again, like we said, Leah, relationship capital.
Yes,
Some
indeed.
some people are just afraid to talk to people. Stop being so afraid to talk to people. White, black, or indifferent. You know, I love that we had that mixed crowd in there last night there, Leah, laughing their butt off, having a good time.
Everybody having a good time.
Smiles in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Got to see it for myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Folks walking up to me, talking to me like I work there. So I'm just here running the security. I just got the contract. That's it. That's all I got. I had to keep I knew what to do, but I had to keep grabbing the managers because I want them to do their job, you know. I knew what to do, but again, that's being personable, being friendly. Show yourself friendly. That's one way we can do it too, James. Show yourself friendly.
Yeah.
And stop all the negativity.
Yeah, that's it. You know, I ain't like
Stop
even
trying
when
to
I catch.
Stop trying to outdo the next person.
Hey, look, I want
you.
Leah, I want to create the partnerships because I understand the power of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it starts with leadership. You know,
Yes, it does.
it always comes back to that. You know, we have our role to play as citizens, but leadership has a great responsibility because they are the focus. They are the focus point. They're what people see, and that's where it has to
Leadership is
start.
everything. Leadership. Like real estate. Location.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You said it best.
And what they say about the fish rots first at the head.
That's right.
Then it comes down. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
The rest of the fish is ruined. Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of it is gone. So
But you know
I believe. Go ahead, Colonel.
You talk about leadership, and I look at city council as leadership. They have to provide, you know, that's at the head of the fish. And if that is rotten, then the whole fish dies. And so, but it's up to the citizens to excise the dead flesh.
Mhm.
And so the fish can, or the fish in totality can survive and to flourish. But to make a long story short, if we look long term, if we can save these kids, they're out and they're no longer out there shooting and gang banging and robbing, stuff like that. We can change the tide for generations to come. But it takes leadership to do that. And with that leadership, some of the leaders need to have at least a rudimentary amount of what I call bandwidth, that they're not just looking at themselves and trying to enrich themselves, but look at, why are you sitting in that chair so you can improve the plights of the people that you elected you to do the right thing and to lead us on to the next point in our nation's, or in the city's history. And I hate to say it, more and more you look at it, there's a lot of them that are lacking in, there's some sitting on the city council, they're lacking that bandwidth or the wherewithal to lead others. And so I'll leave it at that.
And, you know,
They
Colonel,
know who they are.
and what you're saying, Colonel, the children are watching. Because I
Yes.
know oftentimes when I go and meet with the children, I talk to them about civility and being respectful to others. And they ask me, say, well, why do we need to do that? You know, look at how the city council behaves. You look at how they talk to each other. So why are you telling us that this is how we're supposed to behave? They're not setting a good example when you're out here trying to mentor these young people to do things the right way. And they're seeing adults doing things completely opposite of that. And once again more, it's not what you say to kids. Kids watch and see what you do. Your words sometimes your words are not very important to them, but they're looking at you. They're looking at every move that you make. You know, they're watching everything that you do. So therefore, you have to lead by demonstrating to the children how to behave, the things that they need to do and the things that they need to know. So Davy, I do thank you so very much. You know, I'm a fan of yours. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and we do talk often as we can. And I just want to keep encouraging you to keep on doing what you're doing. And while you're doing what you're doing, once again, reach back, grab somebody and help them up along the way as well.
Amen.
And don't let anything block your path for what God has for you, because what he has for you is for you. And don't worry about anybody else. Do you hear me?
Yeah, got it.
What he has for you, it is for you, and you take it and you run with it, you know?
Will do.
So I just want to thank you so very much. I want to thank you for coming on Portsmouth Coffee Talk, and we will be talking within a day because there's some things that I need, okay?
Yes, ma'am, not a problem.
James, my dear.
Okay, and thank you, David. You know how I feel about you. You know, we've been,
Yes, sir.
yeah, right here, brother.
Yes,
And
sir.
a long time, and so proud of you. You know, all the accomplishments you've made
Hey,
so far, and
and,
what's ahead of you.
and just a quick segue. Thank you. I want to thank all y'all. James, I remember coming to you when I think you was about to come off the economic development, and I talked to you and Ray, and I was like, I want to serve. And I think it was the first thing I got on was the Mayor's Committee for Personal Disabilities, because I was working in the HIV and AIDS sector, and you know that's considered a disability. Using my my degree in social work, and when I said it to you, and I think I picked the top 3 boards, and when I got interviewed by, at the time, Councilman Whitehurst, God rest his soul, and former Councilman Elizabeth Simmons, they interviewed me and said, how did he know to do the top 3 boards? I got picked, and this is true story. I got picked for EDA before the Planning Commission. I got bumped to the Planning Commission. Then I got picked for EDA coming off of planning and got bumped to PRHA.
Housing.
So I was always picked to the top boards because I guess they seen that I knew what I was doing and I handled myself well. And I had a backbone and I wasn't scared, you know.
Right.
Now, and I would ask questions and I would question stuff, you know. So you know, it was a lot of times I had to recuse myself because people I knew personally, and just for protect me and the person, I wouldn't vote on it.
Mhm.
I would recuse myself due to their appearance. That's the
Mhm.
proper way you say it. And that's the
Yes.
proper way you do it. And if
That's
you do
right.
it real good and you do it real good and real right, you get up and walk out the room.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Period.
Period.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I must say, you knew the Robert's Rule of Order,
That's right.
which
With the quickness, the
which
point of order. Nah.
I can't say for some, but
I'm ready to get.
but anyway, thanks again. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your
Yes, sir.
time. And we're gonna have you back because you're always doing something. There's always something going on in Davy Smith III's world. So we're
Hey,
gonna have
thank
you
you. And look,
back. And
and by the time I come back, I'll probably be able to talk a little more about development projects. I got a gag order on me right now, so I can't mention them. But by the time we get back, I should be able to talk
yeah,
a
we
little more
understand.
about
So we
those
look forward
projects.
to
Y'all
that.
know how that works. Y'all know how that works. Yeah, y'all know how that
Mhm.
works. Yeah,
Definitely know how that works. All right,
yeah.
take care. And Portsmouth
All
Coffee
right.
Talk is here for our voice,
For our community.
In our future.
and we salute you, David. All
We
right,
salute
All
you,
right.
Davy.
Stay relentless.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Davy.
thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Take
Okay.
care.